Okay, well, as you can see, we're about to take the Archangel route and go with the Blue Suns driver over to do the mission. Now, if you talk to this guy by mistake, there is the option to say I'm not ready yet, but we have taken that option. Now, you do get a little bit of a loading screen here, and I'm pleased to say the loading screens do tend to be contextually specific. So as you can see, we're taking a flight down to Archangel's lair, and you get to pick who you want to take. Now I'm going to take Zaid. I haven't normally taken him at this stage, so it is going to unlock some dialogue I haven't seen before, which is quite interesting. And as you can see, you get to upgrade him. Now his concussive shot seems okay, but yeah, I think I'm going to go with the mercenary veteran upgrade. And I think, yeah, that's it for everyone else. And again, not going to worry about picking any weapons. So anyway, we've got a nice little cutscene here where we land and we get to talk to someone called Salki, I believe it is. And you also get to do some little chats to the various gang leaders and try and interfere with their plans to give you a chance at rescuing Archangel. You also get to find out who Archangel is, and it's a pretty sweet reveal if you've never seen it before. And again, the graphical effects are pretty awesome on this particular level, and I quite enjoy this. Now this recruitment mission compared to the one for Zaid is much better. I mean, you don't just say a couple of words and have them join your crew. You've actually got to fight your way through to Archangel. You then got to have a chat with Archangel. You're then going to do a little bit more fighting, and then you have a little bit more chatting, and then a little bit more fighting, and then eventually a little kind of mini boss battle, and then Archangel is recruited. And that's what most of the extra companions require from you, an actual mission to recruit them. You don't just talk to them and get them. And there's quite a lot of interesting stuff here, and this video is going to go on for a reasonable amount of time. It's going to be, you know, a good few minutes to play through this particular mission, and this is just one of the recruitment missions on this planet. So Morden is about the same sort of time period, if I remember correctly, and potentially is a little bit tougher than this recruitment mission. As long as you've done all the unlocks in this mission, it's relatively easy, particularly if you've got some heavy weapon ammo. And I'm pleased to say on this playthrough I do actually manage to visit all the various areas to nobble the plans of the mercenary leaders. Now, as you can see, there's quite a nice little bit of chatting with Salki before you even get into the main mission. And as I say, this is what I love about Mass Effect. It's not just all about the shooting, it's more about the walking around, investigating, talking with a really good shooting engine attached to it. Now, as I say, if you're more of a Call of Duty player, that's the wrong way round. You're going to prefer the shooting and less of the talky bit. And as I say, you can avoid a lot of the talking, and you can skip through some of the replies and stuff if you find that stuff boring. I don't, so meh. You're watching my playthrough, so you'll have to put up with what I enjoy. Anyway, we're going to move ourselves off now to go and interfere with their plans, and I do believe I get stuck on some scenery a couple of times, which I've never really done. But then again, I've normally played this with an Xbox controller, and I don't know if it's something to do with the mouse and keyboard making things difficult for me. And I also have a bit of problem with some of the hacking every now and then. The mouse still, it doesn't always register my clicks properly. So yeah, it is taking me a little while to get used to the mouse and keyboard. I still think Mass Effect 2 plays better with a controller, personally. Anyway, you got a chance to talk to the leader here, also a chance to read on some bits, and as you can see, you've got a data pad that you can give to Arya, so she knows what's going on. So we must remember to do that when we come back here for Morden, because once you rescue Archangel, you actually return to the Normandy and then have to go through the loading screen again to redock at Omega, which is a little bit of a pain, to be honest, but it's not a total disaster. Anyway, this Solarian, he's quite an interesting character to chat to because he's a little bit angry, and as you will find out, there is a good reason for him to be angry. And I have to say, the high-res texture pack on his armour is great. It's got that real sort of, I'm not sure if it's meant to be metal crystals or camo pattern, but it looks really good to me. I really am enjoying the updated textures. And as I say, the game looks good even without them, but with the texture pack it looks amazing. Now there are a couple of characters where the textures aren't quite so uplifted, but yeah, on the whole it's a pretty good little extra to have, and just helps the game still look really fresh even today. And I pretty much every single video going to be commenting on it, so I can't really apologise too much. Anyway, as you can see, I'm poking him, so yeah, of course it's personal. He killed two of my best operatives, one of whom was my brother, so yeah, he's got a bit of an axe to grind. In fact, all of these mercenary leaders have had a run-in with Archangel, and he's not a popular fellow with everyone else, although at this stage we don't know whether it's a he or a she, and that's a nice little twist as well. So anyway, we are moving on, and there are a couple of rooms here that you need to make sure you go in if you want to make your life easy. If you don't like making your life easy, well, don't go in these rooms, and the mission will be a lot harder, and you can actually risk Archangel, I think, dying, if I remember correctly, so you end up not being able to recruit them. So yeah, you don't want to be too frivolous on doing stuff, and watch out for dead ends on your hack in there. That could have been a bit awkward if I got trapped there. You do get 3 attempts, so it's not a total disaster, but yeah, it's nice to get through first time. Anyway, so we've managed to recover some minerals. We've managed to hack for some money. We're now going to hack the droid to make it have its IFF not work properly. Is it IFF? Anyway, friend or foe system. So yeah, that's good. And now, yeah, here, look, I just seem to be having problems with my mouse there. It took a couple of extra clicks to get it to register. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, yeah, that robot now is not sure who to shoot, so it'll shoot everyone. And unfortunately, on some levels, the mercenaries can actually kill the robot. On this particular playthrough, they didn't, and I had to take it down myself, which meant I took a bit more damage than I was expecting to. And as you can see, we've got some more of these lovely chaps who do not like us, but we get to speak to a Krogan, who is the blood plaque leader, so Garm. Now, on harder difficulty levels, he is a real beast to fight. You do actually have to fight him as part of the Archangel rescue mission, and yeah, he can be quite beastly to take down. Now, on this playthrough, I think I managed to pin him in place and strip his shields, which meant I can use biotics to make his life not so fun, and he was incredibly easy. But you know, as you should be aware by now, I've mentioned it multiple times, I am playing on the easiest difficulty level because I want to show the story and experience the fun of the game. Having already played it, I don't really want the challenge of having to, you know, fight my way through. And you know, I probably will play it again later where I do crank up the difficulty, maybe if I do a Renegade playthrough, because I'm tempted to go back to Mass Effect 1 and do a Renegade character, because this character is meant to be mostly Paragon with a little bit of Renegade. That's acceptable. And unfortunately, some of the Renegade choices are just too damn tempting in Mass Effect 2. Whereas I found in Mass Effect 1, a lot of the Renegade options were just like to be a total dick, whereas the Paragon choices were, you know, the natural ones to go with. And I must admit, even in the Knights of the Old Republic games, I found that to be the case, that, you know, the dark side stuff were really horrible. It's like, you know, let the children die sort of stuff. But yeah. Now, unfortunately, I do trigger Garm to say the same thing twice, which was a little bit whoops, but there you go. But yeah, it's a nice little story, and if you've never seen any of Mass Effect 2 before, I hope you're enjoying some of the story, because as I say, once you get past that initial, I don't know, 90 minutes, 2 hours, you really open up the great game. And as I say, these recruitment missions and then the subsequent loyalty missions are really, really good, and it's why people heaped rewards for the graphics, the audio, the story, the gameplay and everything. Mass Effect 2, when you're actually in the zone playing it, is absolutely fabulous, and I can see why it's well loved. Hopefully, as my little rant for the parts 1, 2 and 3 made clear, it's not so much I have a problem with the gameplay, it's more of what they could have made the game building on the great foundation of Mass Effect 1. So yeah, I have been reading up a bit more about Andromeda, because the reason I started playing Mass Effect 1 and 2 again was because I was thinking, is Andromeda going to be good? And I've heard many mixed reviews, and to be honest, I'm loath to pay full price for it because of the bits I've seen. And what I'm finding particularly disturbing is the YouTube videos I've seen, the animation on the new game are not as good as they are in this game, and this game's at least 5 years old. So that is a little bit disturbing to me, and it's a great shame that BioWare are catching a lot of flack for this. In particular, it seems to be getting a lot of flack for the story not being that impressive, and that's what really makes the Mass Effect games really good, is the story. So if they've lost the story and it's got other sort of problems, it is a bit worrying. But as I say, no problems there with Mass Effect 2. It is, as I say, a fantastic game, and I'm really starting to enjoy it now. And I've got some really cool bits here, because I got Tarek telling me to buzz off, which is what I'm expecting, but there's a little bit of speech that's going to come down here where I basically ask him what's his problem, and he tells me to get out his face, and then he spots my companion. Unfortunately, I also get some weird clipping on some of the heads as well, which I've not seen before. But there's a little bit more going on here than we're aware of, and that would become apparent in Zaid's loyalty mission. And I have to say, it's a nice little bit of bonus for me, because I've never actually seen this dialogue before, because I never normally take Zaid on pretty much any mission. I'm not a fan of the character, to be honest. But I can see why people would like him, because he's this hard, bitter, kind of ex-gangster bounty hunter. But of course, the great thing about taking him is he gets me the option to speak to the lieutenant, who speaks to me quite freely. And as I say, I'm pretty sure I have spoken to her before in a prior playthrough, but I can't remember how I managed that. So yeah, it's great to have a chat with this young lady here, who does remind me a bit of Femshep from Mass Effect 1, to be honest. A very similar sort of look. It's not identical, obviously, and I'm not sure if we unfortunately have to shoot her a bit later on, because yes, part of our mission is to defend Archangel from all these gangs who come swarming across. And by having a chat to them, what you actually come to realise is you get an idea of their plan of attack. So they're going to send in this, then they're going to send in that, and so you can sort of prepare yourself appropriately and maybe mix up your strategy a bit. So obviously, you get the kind of goons first, then you get the droids, then you get a couple of other bits. But anyway, you'll see that all very shortly. So yeah, really gonna enjoy the shooting that's gonna start. So those of you who've been waiting for probably about 2.5 hours now, yes, we're gonna shoot people in the face very soon. But we've got a couple of little extra bits to do just before we get there. And you've got some interesting moral choices to make coming up in a second. And even if you're a Paragon, you want to be a bit renegade, because it makes the life of your your squad much easier to maintain, and also it's just a really cool little gamey bit, and the delivery of the lines is just fantastic. So yeah, I've managed to pick up a load of renegade points there, unfortunately, which is not what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to be a good guy. I just picked up loads of renegade points, and a nice little chat with the Merc here, who isn't keen on getting himself shot. Unfortunately for him, I think he's not going to make it, because yeah, if Archangel doesn't shoot him in the face, we'll probably shoot him in the back, and we've already heard that probably the Blue Suns are going to wipe out any survivors anyway. So yeah. So we're now going to talk to Kafka, and he's a Batarian, so obviously, we should have no qualms about killing him, because they're obviously evil people, and he's a Blue Suns as well, so definitely evil. Although he's got a very nice uniform, I have to say, I do like that blue and white uniform. It's a great paint job. Anyway, he's an interesting chap. He gives us all sorts of information, and then if you pick a particular dialogue, he will trigger the start of the actual mission, and that gives you an opportunity to do a Paragon or Renegade choice. And yeah, I'm going with the Renegade choice, I'm afraid, because it's just really amusing. So yeah, he's going to tell us all about the gunship and about the plan of the attack and some other bits and pieces. And he's also going to smoke, so yeah, he deserves to die. Look at him, polluting my air. Disgraceful. Lovely smoke effect there. And as I say, for a game of its age, I am amazed just how good it still looks. And the high-res texture packs, I really ought to put a link in, because they are just fabulous update to an already great game. But yeah, I really like this little bit here, because you get a feel for this Archangel guy. He's really wound up these big powerful gangs, and there's just a huge horde of people that you're going to have to face. And as I say, on the difficulty levels that you can set, when you go up the scale, you really can have a tough fight on your hand, and you can be using Medigel and having to reload a lot. But yeah, this gunship, if you don't make sure it's not fully repaired, it's a real beast to take down. And I think I'm able to take it down with 3 or 4 heavy weapon shots, but I've actually gone through, I think, about 6 heavy weapon shots and hit it with biotics and overload and emptied a load of clips into it, and only just killed it. So on the really high difficulty levels, it can be a real beast to take down. Anyway, I've had enough of him, so let's trigger the mission. So we're going to get a little comms come through, and then our Mercs are going to be sent over to die, and we finally will get to find out who Archangel is. So that's going to be good. Anyway, before that happens, let's decide what we're going to do about Kafka here, because he needs to repair this gunship, and I don't really want him to be doing that. So keep an eye out for a little mousepad action coming up. So here you go. Oh, what's that there? I wonder if I could use that. Yeah, let's just introduce it. So this is fantastic. You're working too hard. Fantastic line delivery there, and little cutscene as you walk away, as he finds it a little bit shocking that you betrayed him. Anyway, our poor Mercs are going to walk straight into a trap. Basically because they're either getting shot in the face by a sniper rifle or gunned down from behind or bioticed by ourselves. So yeah, let's get moving. And unfortunately I let one slip inside the base, which is a little bit whoopsie. I was trying to remember which button to press, and yeah, for some reason I totally noobed that up. Anyway, get 5 Renegade for apparently shooting them in the back, which is unfortunate. And some guy's in the corner here who I wasn't expecting, so I have to take him down. A little bit of biotic action, that should take care of him. And then we get a nice bit of dialogue upstairs with Archangel, but yeah, sent Zaid there just to cover our back. And I go upstairs, totally forgetting that there are a couple of gangsters up the top here, and yeah, they do shoot me up a bit, and I think, ooh, I could die here. I've been a bit foolish. Yeah, because I get all excited by the medkit and walk straight into a couple of guys shooting me, and for some reason, yeah, I'm sucking a bit here. I think it's quite late, and I haven't played for a few days, so need to get my groove on. There's Archangel there in his sexy blue uniform with his sniper rifle. And as you can see, there is a health bar down in the bottom right corner, and you need to keep an eye on that, because again, you know, as I say, your Archangel character could in fact die if you're not careful, and that would be unfortunate. There's also a couple of items around the back here. I tend to like hacking them before I go speak to Archangel in case I forget, and when you trigger the end scene, you have no choice but to you know, leave this area, so make sure you always grab the bits before coming through the door. So anyway, a nice little scene here where you find out who Archangel actually is, and yeah, he's just a little bit busy dealing with someone. Whoops. Yeah. So yeah, he's a bit of a badass. Who could it possibly be? Well, we have been told he's a Turian, and looking at the character model, it's obviously a Turian, and yep, it's the best bro you can ever have. It's Garrus. Yes, one of the best characters in the series. He's always there for you, and yeah, look at that. Look at that model on him. They've done a really good job at updating him. He's got that cool little sight, and I have to say, I did actually go to a convention once where someone was actually dressed up as Garrison, had some like special padding to get his legs looking like a Turian, and it was a pretty cool cosplay costume. God knows how much it cost them and how much time it took them to get dressed up and everything, but yeah, it looked really cool. And I think his partner was dressed up as a femme shep, if I remember correctly, and the two of them were very popular with all the photographers. In fact, I probably got some shots of them kicking around somewhere. But yeah, he's got some pretty cool stories to tell. He's obviously come to Omega having left C-Sec to come with me on Mass Effect 1, and then obviously disillusioned with going back to C-Sec, so he came to Omega and kicked some butt, upset a load of people, and he's got a nice little loyalty mission as well that we can play through later on. And of course, those of you who didn't get my foreshadowing earlier, he is the man who makes sure your guns are calibrated, and yeah, he's a great addition to the squad. So I probably be taking Jacob and Garrus on the Morden mission. I'll have to wait and see, but anyway, as we can see, we are trapped, so we're going to have to even up the odds a bit before we actually get out. So we're going to get a chance to have a bit of a play with a sniper rifle shortly, and then we're going to run around and kick some butt, which is always good fun. So yeah, Garrus seems unaware of some of the plans the Mercs have for him, but we know that they're going to be coming in from some tunnels. We know they're going to be sending across some robots, and it's probably going to be the robots first, then the blood plaque, and then finally the gunship with the blue sun. So we are a little bit pre-armed as to what's going on, and yeah, we definitely going to have some fun here with a sniper rifle. Now, I had a feeling you could shoot more than one for some reason, but I think that's just a misremembered fact. So yeah, get another little trigger action there where you can shoot a drone, and that helps make our life a bit easier. Now, you can shoot from up high, but obviously you do risk people getting into the base underneath you, but to be honest, you can take out quite a few of them from up here first. And what's annoying is they must be out of range, because none of my hits seem to be registering for a moment there. Shot off the gun on one of those guys, so that's definitely amusing. And do we take out all the droids? I think we do, and then they send over some troops. Now, if I'd had a sniper rifle, obviously I could have probably hit them before they came over the wall. And yeah, we are kicking their butts, so we've killed quite a few of them, and they've got nowhere near us in the base. But I am going to have to run downstairs, because I think one or two of them do actually get in underneath. And for some reason I launched one of my biotic powers there by mistake, and yeah, let's just come check what's going on down here, because a lot of people are going to start coming in from underneath. And yeah, there you go. So let's take out this guy by blowing up the explosive barrel, always useful thing to have. And we've got some guys coming in from the middle, the right and the left, and yeah, it's quite fun, the tactical positioning here and trying to cover all the angles, and it's a great mission, this. Well, apparently we've done so well that we've basically triggered the little cutscene where Jareth decides to send in the heavy mech, and things can get very interesting here, particularly if you fail to hack the heavy mech, which I did do once on one of my playthroughs. I, for some reason, failed to do the hack. I can't remember how I managed that, but it's either I forgot to go in the room or I wasn't paying attention and accidentally used up all my attempts at hacking. But the great thing about hacking the heavy mech is it takes out a lot of people on the bridge before they even get to you. And there you go, let's send Zaid forward to cover us, and take Miranda over there, and hopefully we can trap them from coming through. You can see a load of troopers got taken out by the heavy mech. Unfortunately, I think the heavy mech does actually manage to sneak in a bit further than I'd normally like him to come, and kills Zaid, and I have to use some medi-gel to get him back up. But anyway, never mind, eh? So those Eclipse Heavies are a real pain because they fire rockets that can actually blow you away from your cover. But I don't know what's going on with Zaid there. He's just standing there taking it from the heavy mech. So let's get some biotics into the robot just to strip its shields, and then we'll take it out. And let's get Zaid up, because whilst I'm not that fussed about him, it's good to have the extra firepower. And now we've got Jeroth coming in, and I think, do we biotic him or do we just kill him? No, we just kill him. But yeah, I've had some real brutal fights with him on the harder difficulty levels. Wasn't able to get him taken out, and yeah, because we've taken everyone out, Garrus wants us to come back upstairs, have a little chat, and get ready for the next fight. So as you can see, it's a great little structured mission here where you can spend a good, I don't know, 30 minutes having a chat and a fight, and most of the recruitment missions give you this fantastic setup, and that's why people love Mass Effect 2, because not only have you got a great story, but you've got some great action. And yeah, I'm just being a loot whore here. And interesting to see there's a lot of body bags kicking around there, which I hadn't really noticed before on the Xbox. And what I did also find interesting about this particular playthrough is I don't remember some of the animation being quite so wonky as it ended up being in this particular mission. Got a couple of weird head and leg and neck angles which hadn't really noticed before. So yeah, obviously bad animation is not a recent trend for Mass Effect, but my playthroughs of Mass Effect 1 and 2, I never really noticed any major issues. I did notice problems with skeletons and stuff like that in Mass Effect 3. Anyway, Garrus is about to find out that they've actually been tunnelling underground, and as you can hear, there's been a big explosion, and we've now got a little fight here. Now, I found this fight a little bit tougher than I do normally. Again, I'm not sure whether it's because of using the mouse and keyboard, but got hit a few more times than I was expecting. Now, at this point, you can choose to guard Garrus, you can leave someone behind with him, or you could actually go down into the tunnels and leave Garrus all to himself, and I chose to leave Garrus all to himself because he is a bit of a badass, and I am pretty sure he doesn't need my help. And yeah, I activated the sprint, and my character tried to take cover there, and this is one of the things I'm not so keen about on Mass Effect 2, where sometimes the cover engine goes a bit wonky. Anyway, let's get down here and shut these shutters. Now, this is a pretty easy shutter to get closed. You just run straight ahead, press the button, and hopefully it shuts before they all get to you. And using a biotic power, I can pin them in place, hopefully, which makes this a lot easier, because if they actually get to the door, they stop it shutting. So that was nice and easy, but this next couple of doors are going to be a little bit tougher. This one's a real pain because there's a guy with a flamethrower, and if you don't take him down, he can really rip your squad apart. And for some reason I take far too many hits there. I think I was trying to sprint and it didn't quite work, but anyway, I managed to get into cover, recover my shields, and again, because I've taken cover in a weird position, I'm not able to shoot these guys or use my biotic powers. But anyway, there you go, I managed to lean out now, get the job done, and I'm having trouble leaping over the wall here. So yeah, the mouse and keyboard's not really working with me on this particular playthrough, so a little bit frustrating. Now, I do try and get a biotic power into a guy here, and it kind of doesn't quite work. It just drifts off a bit too far to the left, which is a shame because it means I'm about to get a load of fire in my face. And yeah, there you go my shields, and luckily I'm able to kill him and take cover, and then just rip this guy a new one. So have some biotics, and anyway, shotgun pushes him back into it. Happy days. Now, it's a little bit tricky this, because you've got to make sure you don't run so far forward that you end up getting absolutely wasted. And yeah, I think I've got a good little window here to get this shutter shut, so let's get it closed. And yeah, he's too close to the door so it wouldn't shut, but finally did manage to trigger it, and we're safe now. So good, happy days. But again, if you want to just waste a lot of ammo and kick a load of butt, you can make it a bit harder for yourself if you really want to. And Gareth is starting to get a little bit concerned because there is a third door, and this one can be quite a tricky one. If you're not careful, you can get charged by Krogan and some hounds, and it can be very, very unpleasant. Luckily for me, although I make a couple of mistakes, it doesn't end up being too difficult for me. But yeah, trying to get into cover here and then promptly stand up, which is really irritating, take a few hits I wasn't expecting to. But yeah, I do like my singularity, so I did used to take Liara a lot because of her singularity power in Mass Effect 1. And if you've got a singularity and a push and a pull, you can do some really unpleasant things to some of the enemies. And yeah, it's one good thing about Mass Effect 2. When you get to re-profile your character, you can say, hey, I want to have biotics. I don't always want to take someone with biotics. And yeah, this hound's getting a bit close. Luckily he gets taken down by a warp power and then shotgunned, I think, by Zaid. So good stuff. Anyway, singularity doing its job. Let's get some Medigel because we might need it. I'm full up though apparently, so I get money. And yeah, sorry Miranda, I was trying to get into the button here, so need to kill this guy who's close before I can trigger the button. And yeah, he goes down, trigger the button, and then stop anyone getting too close to stop the timer. And there you go, that's all she wrote. So we get to go back to Garrus now and find out what's going on. So the Bloodhounds decide to finally come, and we got the boss, Garm. And as I say, he's normally pretty tough, but luckily for me, I think we get a couple of lucky hits that strip his shields, which means my biotic powers will work on him, and we end up fighting his lieutenant rather than him. And I do love the fact that everyone's kind of surprised by us coming in at the last moment. So yeah, nice warp power and a load of machine gun shots, and then another warp power, and then I think, do we manage to get singularity on him? I think we do. So he's just round the stairs here and got trapped on the door, stupid boy, and let's warp him. Oh, come on, send in the warp. Yeah, there you go. And he's screwed. So yeah, he's normally a really tough guy to take out, but if you can actually catch him early enough and use your biotics on him, then yeah, it's game over. So anyway, as you can see, Garrus has taken a bit of a kick in there. He's on what, 2/3 life. I think the worst I've ever had him at was about quarter life. So yeah, I think Garm actually got in and was kicking his butt, and he was actually moaning about it. So a little bit of loop horage, and then let's have a chat with Garrus. So Garrus is pretty pleased, he's not taken too much damage, and he's chatting away to us, and that unfortunately might not work out quite so well for him. But he now tells us his side of the story of the fight that we got earlier from talking to the Blood Pack leader, and that's the other thing I do quite like about this mission. You get to hear the story from two sides, and it's always interesting. So let's get out of here and, you know, get back to the Normandy. Unfortunately, a gunship has different ideas, so yeah, we need to take cover now. I'm not sure why my companions are trying to come and join me here. It's really annoying. They kind of AI screws up on me for some reason. So anyway, you can put some hits into the gunship at this stage, but to be honest, you don't seem to get as much benefit from it as you should, so I tend to take out the troopers, saving all my bullets for the gunship. But yeah, the biotic powers don't always work on these guys while they've still got their shields, and so you've got to get a shift on and make sure you strip those shields as quickly as possible, so you can then cheese them with your singularity power like that, which is always fun. I don't ever get tired of that. So you've got to be a bit careful because the gunship moves around, and if you position yourself wrong, it can absolutely nail you with huge amounts of shots, and it can become very, very unpleasant. So anyway, you've got some people sneaking in from below, so let's go deal with them. And unfortunately, I get hit a couple of times by the stupid rocket heavy troopers, who are very annoying, and yeah, they hurt. Luckily, I've got a big cover I can retreat back into. And yeah, unfortunately I thought the heavy trooper was the one getting sucked into the singularity. They're actually the person hiding behind the pillar. So there they are, take them out. And I think, is that the last one, or is there one more? There might be one more. Yeah, there's definitely one more. So let's be brave, charge, strip his shields, and yeah, I've been a bit too brave maybe. So anyway, shields are recovered, so he's screwed now, because luckily for me, enemies don't seem to have their shields recovered. Grab some ammo and get myself back upstairs. So yeah, this is a pretty cool cutscene, this. So Garrus is looking for enemies and takes on toe-to-toe a gunship. What a brave fool he is. Anyway, he gets nailed a few times and yeah, eats a rocket, which is not the best thing to do, Garrus. That was a bit foolish. So we now obviously have to take down the gunship. Now luckily for me, because I destroyed the engineer's back with an electric probe, and because I've got some heavy weapons, I take this down probably the easiest I ever have done, to be honest. So we're going to nail him at pretty much point blank range. Now I'm trying to get Miranda to use her biotics on the gunship, and for some reason I don't think it quite hits, but I do, and easiest ever mission completion. So we got to go check on Garrus. Bro, are you alright? Now, interestingly, he's got blue blood. Now, I don't recall reading about the blood colour, but there you go. Turians obviously have blue blood. And, oh, he's possibly alive. And Zaid, way to kill the mood. He's about to tell me just how likely Garrus is to survive. Thanks for that, Zaid. You've cheered me up. Anyway, we're going to jump back now to the Normandy, and you get a little bit of a chance to chat to people, and then when we're all done there, I'm going to get myself back onto Omega. So in the next video we will actually start off in Omega. I'll spare you the loading screens of taking the lift, and then the loading screen of actually docking, plus the cutscene. We've already seen that, so I'll just cut the video straight to the moment we actually land at the docks, rather than all the bits in between. And because I've picked up a few bits, I'm going to go speak to the doctor about Brandy. I'm also going to take the upgrades to, I think it's the engines, down in the engineering department. I'm also going to have a little bit of a quick chat with Jacob, get him on my side, because I say if I'm not taking Garrus and Zaid, I'll take Garrus and Jacob on most of my missions until we get a different companion, and then I might change my mind when we get someone else. But anyway, you get some really cool dialogue here, and they've done a great job at messing with Garrus's face here, and you get to share a bit of a joke. So you can be, nice, or you can, troll him a little bit, and of course Garrus likes that. And I just love, again, the voiceover and the dialogue here. Really, really good, and it goes along with the great visuals as well. So fantastic job. Really, really enjoying, as I say, this bit of Mass Effect 2. Jacob, very stiff, very formal, good lad. He goes back to his room, no doubt to lift some weights. But yeah, Cerberus. Yeah, I agree with you, Garrus. I do think it's stupid with Cerberus. So I've gone with a fairly middling option of, I don't really trust them. And Garrus, being pragmatic, he sort of goes along with me. And he's off to the forward batteries to calibrate them, no doubt. So if I remember correctly, I think I go to Jacob first, then I think I go to Garrus, and then I go down to engineering. We'll find out. Anyway, off to Jacob first, and have a little bit of a chat with him. And if you are trying to romance him, I believe he's only interested in the ladies. Similar with Miranda, I think she's only interested in the gents. As to other characters, not so sure. I can't remember what their interest is in you. I believe Kelly, if you romance her, she doesn't care whether you're male or female. But some of the other characters that you meet, again, they are Some of them are a bit more liberal, some of them are a bit more, no, I only date the opposite sex. And I think that's where Mass Effect really worked well, where you had gay, bisexual and straight people. That worked really well for me, because, you know, it's the reality of the human condition that, you know, some people are interested in same sex, some people, you know, only interested in opposite sex, and then there's people who, you know, don't care, they're just more interested in you, who you are. Because I have heard that a lot of people are getting a bit upset with some of the modern games where they are doing this social justice warrior stuff, and I'm not going to go too near to that. That's probably all I want to comment about on that. But yeah, it is an interesting debate for gaming, because it did suffer from being a very male-dominated sphere, with all women being, you know, sexual objects and all that. But anyway, let's move past that and just enjoy the game. So here you go. We've got some emails coming through, and this one's the one I told you about, where basically the young man we interrupted in Afterlifer realizes we did him a solid, and he managed to survive, and he almost certainly would die. In fact, I think if you don't persuade him from stopping coming on the mission, you get a letter from his brother or his mother or something saying how they're going to miss him and why didn't you stop him and all that sort of business. Anyway, we're down in the crew area, so let's go have a chat with the good doctor first, then off to Garrus, and then down into the lower decks. Now, Dr. Chakwas is very pleased to be given some brandy, and you can choose to flirt with her a bit, have a drink with her a bit. And it's one thing I didn't understand. It seems quite hard to kind of try and date the Doctor. Now, I know she's an older lady, but so what? You know, I think she's a great character, and it would be great if you could flirt with her and actually make her your love interest. I don't see why they skipped out on that. Now, you, as I say, you do get to flirt with her quite a bit, and here's where unfortunately the animation goes a bit wonky. Her foot goes a little bit odd, and she's reminiscing about good old Jenkins, our young man from Mass Effect 1, who ran into a load of bullets and got himself replaced by Ashley very quickly. So there's some nice little dialogue in here, which again I've not really seen before. I think in the past I've not gone with some of these options I'm going with, and as such that there are a couple of bits of dialogue here that I haven't seen. So bearing in mind I've played this minimum 6 times, it's great that here I am on, I don't know, it might even be over 10 times, but somewhere over 7 plays I'm still finding new stuff kind of 5-7 years later. So that's again another reason this game is so highly regarded. And this is quite an interesting little bit, a time of reflection where you can choose to honour the dead, honour the Alliance, honour your current mission. And again, I would have really liked her to be a stronger character in the game, because she's a great actress and a great character, and you just don't really get to interact with her enough, in my opinion. And she gets very morose here, talking about Joker, talking about the ship, and talking about yourself, in fact. And again, she's another person that can die in Mass Effect 2. Pretty much everyone in this game potentially can die, and that's great, because one of the problems you had in Mass Effect 1 was, you know, there were a few people who could die, and that was quite shocking, but relatively speaking, you know, most of you were pretty safe, including Shepard himself. So anyway, I go over to see if you can chat to the Doctor, and you can't. She's out for the count. And that bit there was Edie, not a med gel station. And yeah, let's go speak to Garrus, who's up in the gun deck, which we can finally get into now that we've recruited Archangel. And nice little bit of extra codex updates there. I'm going to have to go in and have a read of those at some stage, just to clear them, to be honest, from my inventory of things to be read. And Garrus has some nice little chats. You can talk to him about the guns, you can talk to him about what he's done since the Normandy exploding. And yeah, there's some interesting little snippets here where Garrus, his loyalty mission, unfortunately starts off feeling very similar to the Mass Effect one, where someone's got away and he wants to hunt him down and get revenge. However, it is slightly different from the Mass Effect 1 story, thankfully, and so I can forgive it for that. But it's a great story where it's about betrayal, and it's about his Merc core that he builds up to try and fight the system, getting taken out by the mercenaries. And it's a great little bit of character growth for Garrus, another great bonding experience for the two of you. And as a lot of people have said, he's probably one of the greatest bromances in gaming history, and he is very well loved because he talks a lot of crap about you, but he would do anything to keep you alive. And he is one of my favourites, definitely. But he is, shall we say, quite cynical as well. And compared to the sweetness of Liara, the innocence of Liara, it was a nice counterpoint to that. Anyway, you can choose to tease him about being a thug and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a slightly harder edge Garrus than even the Mass Effect 1 Garrus. And he's a definitely interesting character because of that. And I'm trying to remember what happens in Mass Effect 3, but there's some interesting development for him in Mass Effect 3 as well. And there's a really, really cool scene with him in Mass Effect 3 as well, which I do remember. And that's a particularly amusing moment. And of course, one of the big things that people got upset about in Mass Effect 1, that if you were a female Shepard, you couldn't actually date Garrus. You could flirt with him, but if I remember correctly, you couldn't actually date him. Or am I misremembering that? No, I'm pretty sure you couldn't date him in Mass Effect 1. So yeah, when I do my next playthrough of this on the PC, it's probably going to be, as I say, a Renegade, and I'll probably go with a Femme Shep. So that's sort of my plan for when I finish this playthrough, is to go all the way back to Mass Effect 1, get a Femme Shep and make her a Renegade. And it's a debate, do I go with the standard model, which is a pretty cool model, or do I make my own? And of course the risk there is you can make a really ugly Femme Shep, or you can make a very pretty one. Choices. As you can see, my male Shepherd is a non-standard character. I deliberately went for a kind of grizzled, bearded guy. I'm not sure I quite approve of the facial hair, but it definitely makes him distinctive, and I'm actually relatively pleased with the facial features. They work quite well. Anyway, looks like there is a guy called Sidonis that we're going to have to hunt down for Garrus, and Garrus is pretty bitter, and we'll find out why. So again, I mean, look at those visuals. That's just fabulous. And Garrus, I mean, that model with the broken up armor and the damaged face, it's not a good look, but it's a really good look. So yeah, we probe and prod, and Garrus is pretty sure that he's got enough evidence that Sidonis was someone who set him up, betrayed him, and in particular his men and women, and he wants payback. And at some stage in the future, no doubt, we are going to have that choice of what do we do about Sidonis. And again, that's another reason why Mass Effect 2 is a really cool game. There are choices to be made, and do you do stuff for good, do you do stuff for bad, or do you do stuff that you think's for good and discover later it's bad, or do you do stuff that you think's bad and later on ends up being good? So yeah, really, really good, clever writing. And yeah, let's go check on the Ice Queen, see how she's doing in my office. Get out my office, it's my place. Anyway, I don't have much time for it at the moment, so I'm going to leave some of the conversational trees open till later, when I'm pretty sure we have stuff to talk about. And again, as I say, she's actually got a really cool loyalty mission, and you'll find out I'm being unnecessarily harsh on her at this stage, because at the moment she's not a very pleasant character, but when you get deeper into the game, there is a different side to Miranda, which I wish would have been, again, brought out a bit sooner, and would have helped me with the kind of why am I working for these guys. Anyway, we get Donnelly and Daniels talking about things, and we get to discover that Donnelly is, yes, shall we say, rather enamoured with Miranda, and obviously we need to interfere at this point before anyone says anything that they shouldn't say in the workplace. And they're very pleased to discover that we've given them some spare parts, and to celebrate they're going to get us to play poker. And there's a couple of nice little choices here as to whether you let them play or not let them play, and if you do let them play, whether you join in. So yeah, I'm actually quite good at Skillion 5, but let's not tell them that. And yeah, we get to steal some money off our staff. So there you go. Donnelly is quite amused by this. So anyway, that is pretty much it. So we are going to catch the elevator, and next time you see us, we'll be back on Omega, ready for Morden. So I hope you enjoyed that little recruitment mission. So till the next video, have fun.